In this video, I'll be showing you how to import a solid body, moving it, and then we'll be shelling it and then adding a whole lot of features to it, all inside a single file. So this is what's called a multi-body part file. So I'm going to close this item. In fact, I'll close it. And then to get an STP file into Solidworks, you simply open the STP file. You don't need to import it. So I'm going to open that file, which I created in Rhino. Right, so you see, you get this diagnostics dialog. Just say yes. If there are any faulty faces, you'll be able to see them over here, and then you can double click, you can hit that attempt to heal all, and it'll do it for you. Right, so I want to see if this has come through in the right orientation. So I'm going to go through to this view, and it's in the top view is in the front view. So this is definitely incorrect. So let's go to the right view, and I can see that all I need to do is rotate this body to the right, so counterclockwise. So type in move copy bodies in the instruction bar at the top, and then you can select the body you want moved, and you'll get the triad appearing. Now this triad you can move by hand to where you want it to be, but it's much better if you actually do it by entering figures or selecting items. Yours might not look like mine. You might actually have something like this where you have constraints. So there are two modes in the move body copy command. There's the translate rotate mode, and then the constraints. So I want you to be in the move copy, or we're going to use the move copy mode. And then in rotate, I can select my origin point, and that's sort of directly goes to 0. And I can see here with the two arms of the triad, Y and Z are visible. So that means I need to move it in the X direction. So let's type in 270, that's minus 290, or 90 degrees counterclockwise, and say okay. And there we go. It's moved this item exactly to where I want it to be. So that's the front and the top and then the side. All right, so the right view. Let's go to that view. No, we'll go to the front view, in fact. So let's just go in here. Front view, and now I want to split this body. So we're going to use this command here, split. And to do that, I need to put a sketch on the front view. So let's do that, put a sketch on. I'm going to use the center line as a way of making whatever I do symmetrical. So I'll use a 3-point arc. I'm going to let it snap to points and then drag it out. All right, and then just locate this neatly. So select the two endpoints and the middle point and say symmetrical. And then I also want those 2 points to be horizontal, and then a dimension in here, 150. And that's about right. I mean, I could move this up a little bit. I'd have to break some of these relations and then to do that, but I'm going to leave it like this for now. It's good enough. Right, so then we have a sketch. It's on the front plane, and I now want to split this body. So I'm going to select this command, a split. It'll ask me if I want an assembly. I can say OK, and then it's going to ask for the actual split. So what I would normally do is actually save this file first so that I can enter the names in. So in fact, let's just backtrack and do that. So let's just save this as a file. I'm going to select an old one and overwrite it. Okay, so let's go again with the split command. That's okay. And then the first thing that the split command properties bar in the left hand side asks for is a trim tool. So that's that sketch there. Just select the sketch and you'll see that it is selected. And then at the bottom underneath resulting bodies, make sure that consume cut bodies is not selected in this case. Otherwise we won't have anything left in the file. So then I'm going to click cut parts command, and then we'll get two parts. So there's a top part, or there's a part that would be the top part and a bottom part. So with one of these selected, with them ticked, you can double click in this file name and just give it just select parts and say okay, and give it a file name. So I'm going to call mine, where is it, lower. So I've renamed mine to accord with how I'd want you to have yours named. So I've called it the lower. Lower is just in the wrong position. Let's just change that. Get that out of the way. Put my name at the end. Right, so save that, and then I can do the same with the, was that the lower? Yes, it was. No, that was actually the upper. So I need to rename that. That's actually the wrong name. But we'll just swap them around a bit later. So I would rename this. I'd put upper further down or further to the left. So now I've got two bodies, and I can say okay. It'll ask for, do you want to make one apart and the other one apart, and it'll do both of them. And what I forgot to do is I forgot to shell this, so that's not a problem. Let's just go back to the original file, which is, I think it's this one here. Let's see, there it is there. So all I do is I go up one. Let's just get it to roll back like this, and then shell. And so I'm going to shell it with a wall thickness of 1.4, and I'm not going to select any face because that'll remove the face, and just say okay. And so you can see that it's shelled. There it is, it's shelled. Okay, and then I just drag these back down, and it will have kept the shelling and the splitting. So let's get rid of that for the time being. And there's my split. So let's just make that a bit more visible. So if you go a little bit higher in the design tree, you'll see this command solid, or this category solid bodies, now has two bodies in it instead of one. So I can in fact hide one of them and show the other one. So that's what we've got. All right, so I'm going to, I'm going to start in the lower part, and I want to put a groove and a lip in the two. So lips are, as they suggest, they're raised, and grooves are cut into. So we want to put a lip onto the lower part so that the top part the upper can locate within it. So you'll see in this lip groove properties bar, the top one is the groove, and the lower one is the actual lip. So I'm going to select that one there, make sure that bar is highlighted, and then you'll get you'll have a sort of a series of dialog boxes open on the left hand side. The first one is, which plane do you want to define this against? This is just a way of giving it direction. So let's select the top plane, and then the next thing will be the lip selection. What it wants here is, you can see this little symbol icon, it wants a face, so let's say it's that face there. And then tangent propagation, make sure it's ticked so that it just selects all the faces. And now SolidWorks wants to know, which edge do you want to define this lip against? So is it the inside or the outside? So it's normally the inside, and there you go, you can see it's actually given us a lip, and you can control the height of the lip. So I'm going to make mine 1. You can also control the root thickness. So I'm going to make mine 0.9, just because that's 2/3 of 1.4. That's my wall thickness. And then I'm going to give it 2 degree taper. Right, I'm going to no, let's leave this one here. Let's just see what happens. If I leave the maintain existing wall faces, you'll see something happen which is not satisfactory. And what it is that face, this one here, this lower face, is continued upwards. So we've got a lip which is fine along the edges, but on the ends, it goes to a 0 thickness. So I want a distinction between the two. So just go back into this command, make sure that one there is unticked, and then you'll get a distinct lip going all the way around. So let's put a groove in the top view. So I'm going to show both views, and then the easiest way to do this is to section the two through this in that way so that you can see what's going on. So I found from doing this before that the easiest way to figure out what the groove should be is to actually do some measuring. So let's measure from that point to that point there, and that seems to be 0.933. Okay, so I'm going to clear those, see if I can remember that, and then from this point up to here is about 1. So we need to make the groove about 0.93 from the edge, or probably a bit less, and then we need to make it a bit deeper than 1.02. So roughly 1 and 1. Let's see if that'll work. So let's go back to the lip groove tool, and this time I'm going to select the upper command, select that item there. Yes, I've got it. The face will be the top face again to give us directionality. So it's going to be perpendicular to that face. The actual face, once I select here, that face there, it should make the lower bit disappear. There we go. The moment I go into the next part of the command, the select the edge part, the lower face disappears. So I'm going to make this go against that inner face again. And here A is 0.95, which I can't now, I think we can't measure. So this might not be exactly right, because I'd have to measure the width of this face and then subtract 0.9. So let's leave it as it is, and then B would be 2 degrees, that's fine. And C would be the depth, so 2 is way too deep. I think 1.1 would probably do it. And let's see if that does what we wanted to do. Almost. In fact, that's pretty good. That's we could probably close this a little bit, although that gap is so small that it's probably, it looks bigger than what it really is. It's really minute, 0.15. We could make a little bit tighter, but I'm going to leave it as it is for the sake of in getting the video completed quicker. So we've got a little bit of an undercut here, which I have to get rid of. And so let me show you the best way to do that, or the easiest way to do that. I'm going to hide the bottom part and just rotate this around. And there you can see that slice in there. In this model, it's only on the two ends, so that should be easy to fix. I'm going to select the delete face command. It'll normally default to delete, but make it go to delete and patch. And then all you do is select the faces you don't want. That's actually selected the wrong bit. That face there and that one. And here you don't need to hold shift down to select more faces, just keep selecting. So that's the wrong face. Let's select this one here. There it is. And then that one there. And just delete face 4. And as soon as I say OK, that little undercut magically disappears. So far, so good. Okay, so now we can move on to the next step, which is the mounting bosses. But in fact, I've missed out another important part. Before I shelled it, I should have put in 2 depressions to put the feet in. So let's go back a couple of steps to that one there. And on this face, I want to put a sketch in. As usual, I'm going to have some center lines to help guide me, and then we'll use the slot command. So going from there outwards, and then somewhere around there. A quick dimension here. 6 is good. And then the length, say 70. And then I simply need to get this item defined. I think a little bit further than that, 17. That's probably good. And then also I would like to just mirror this for now. Although I could actually mirror the feature instead of mirroring that item. Either way will work. All right, so now with that sketch in place, I'm going to extrude cut, and I need to go down by, let's say, 2 millimeters. And then this should give me an error, so I'm going to, let's just put a taper in there, 1.5 perhaps. And then there you'll see there's the error. It's left little bits of face, so that needs to be, from a direction point of view, it needs to be a mid plane, and then I think you might have to go 4. Let's see, is 2 right? No, that seems to have done it. Not quite, because it hasn't cut deep enough. So I was right. That's got to be 4 millimeters, or maybe 3. Okay, and I think that's quite a deep cut. It means the foot's going to have to be quite large. So let's pull this inwards a bit by saying 15.5. See what that does. Maybe even less. 14.5. Right, and then the depth is now, it's now way too deep. So where's my depth? There it is there, 4. Let's make it 2. A little bit too little, 2.2. That's good, all right. And so I would need to put in some fillets, very, very small ones, about 0.1, maybe 0.15. That looks right. And then I can just go back, drag this down, should fill everything in. All right, if there is a problem, then just go back to where the problem is. In this case, I suspect what's happened is that I just need to redo the command. Let's see if it'll do it. No, it doesn't like that. Okay, so it's not liking the actual the fillet that I put in there. That's a problem. So it'll highlight what the problem is. So let's just enter that fillet to something smaller, 0.1. See if that gives us a better result. Seems not to. So what I might have to do here is actually put the fillet in after the shell, which is what I've done, and that solved it. So I can actually go back to this fillet being 0.15. And then let's roll back, and everything's good. All right, so let's have a look at what we've got on the bottom. Show that and hide this top one. Oh, almost. Right, this is a bit of a, it's not geometrically, that slice there isn't so good. And I think where the problem here is that width is probably too wide. Let's just change it. There we go. Right, so that should solve it. So let's put some, no, I'm not going to put, I was going to put some fillets in here, but let's first do the mounting boss before we do that. So mounting boss is possibly a scary looking command because of all the options that you have to tick or that you have to fill in. So let's go through this step by step. The first thing that Solidworks is going to want is which body, because we've got 2 bodies here. Let's first select this body, just the face. of one of these things, and then your mounting boss should come in straight away. There are 4 different kinds of mounting bosses. There's the hardware boss, thread head size, and then the thread side. So the head is where the screw goes into, and the thread is where the actual screw of the thread goes into. And then the pin boss are locating items. So one's a pin, and the other one's the reciprocal, the hole. So we're going to start with the head boss, as you can see, and it's placed it sort of where I clicked. And then you'll notice that under boss you can enter boss height or select mating face. We don't have anything to mate it with yet, so we have to go with the boss height. In the class, I think I chose 6, but I think we've got to make this a lot shorter because we only use an M3 Phillips head self-tapping or self-threading screw. So from having imported it, I know that this boss has to be a bit lower. So make that 4. At the moment, it's gone red, and that's because there's a conflict between 2 dimensions. Invariably, it's in this fin section at the bottom. That fin can't be 10 millimeters high if the height of the boss is only 4. So the height of the fin needs to be 3 or 2 or something like that. There we go. There it is. So 3 works just fine. So if you want to see what's going on, just go to C there and change it to be less than A. And that should help you. Right, so the width is at 8. I think it needs to be somewhere around 7.2 in this case. I'm not going to go through how I get to these, calculate these things. 6.2 is this piece here. So you can see there. Let's make it 6 and C. Yes, that's okay. And then D is the height of this top hat. Let's make that just 1. And then I'm going to leave all the the tapers as 2 degrees so that we save on time. F is the hole opening. So if I've got a 3mm screw, then 3.2 is good because that gives me some clearance. G is at the bottom. So what you've got to do is take G from B and then figure out what your wall thickness is. So 5 plus a wall thickness of 0.9 would be 7 is that right? Let's bring up a calculator and do that calculation quickly. So we're going to take, is it 7.2? We're going to take 7.2, that's that starting point there. We're going to subtract 1.8 because 1.8 is 0.9 multiplied by 2, and we'll get 5 to get to 5.4. So let's make G 5.4. And then H is this wall thickness here. I would make it quite small, 0.9 would be good. Same as our root thickness. And then let's stick with 2 degree taper. And here there's a clearance value between what we're going to do later when we put that one in there. And you can specify it. So I'm going to make it 0.1. Okay. Then we can move on to the fins. The fins are usually cause the greatest problems. So the first command is just asking for a direction plane. So let's select the top plane. It seems to be a problem. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, it's not there. It's the right plane. It's the right plane because that's going perpendicular to a plane to give 2 of the fins. So if I type in 2 here, you'll see that those 2 there are in place. So let's leave it. Let's go with 3. We'll leave it as it is. At 3 for now, and then we can just go through this again. A is that's the sort of the length of your actual fin from the center. So let's make that a bit smaller. Let's say try with 5. That's too small. 6. It's possibly also too small. 7. Okay, 7 is good. B is the width at root of your fin. So that should be 0.9. 3 we've already dealt with. This we can just change to 2. And then E is the little distance between that point and right now you can't see the other point, so let's type in 1, and there you can see it. So we can go back and just change this to about 5.5. That's a lot better, and then we can just change the degree. The degree just is how much of the corner gets chopped off. Okay, that's good. The only thing we're missing now is an actual position for this item, and it should be this one here. Just select that edge. So it needs an edge to go against, and then we have to reintroduce the top plane is directional. Right, so as soon as you say OK, you're good to go, and it's punched a hole in the bottom, and we should be able to fit a screw into that item. Let's just measure that hole there. That is a diameter of 5.4. As far as I remember, the screw is 5.4, so we might have to make that bigger. But we will leave that alone for now. And the next thing I want to do is I want to replicate this item on this side, but I don't want to do all that work again. So let's go to the top view in this item and put a sketch in. And all I'm going to do is put a point in that's co-radial. So select point, wait for the center point to appear, click on that, and that point is now a fully defined sketch. So go out of here, and I can now get a copy of this item using this sketch-driven pattern command. That's under this linear pattern drop-down. Sketch-driven pattern, it's going to ask you which sketch do you want, so you select this point, and then it says which features and faces, you select those ones, and that's all you need to do. And you can see what it's done is it's actually put the item in with the fins facing the same direction as you got in this original one. I can't remember. I think you might be able to actually alter the way it orientates. No, it doesn't seem like it. Okay, so typically then I would, I might actually put 2 in and then get that 2. Because this is going to be more, well, it's not really going to be a problem to mold it. So don't worry about it for now. This is good enough. Let's go on to the next part, which is we're going to use the pin boss. Put that one there on that face. And then I'll do this, but I won't. No, let's do it in full just to show you how it goes. So I'll see if I can't get that done as quickly as possible. So once again, we have to enter a boss height. We're going to copy what we did for this mounting boss. So 4 height, B would be, well, B actually only needs to be about 3 millimeters. That's fine. Let's just go down to C and just alter that to be 3 or 3.2 or something. That should do it. There we go. All right, let's go back up. Just get these ones in place. So that's going to be that edge. So what I did there is I selected the top view as the orientation, that this is going to go perpendicular to the edge as the position. And then we can make this, no, that's fine. Let's make this a little bit bigger, make that 4. Okay, that looks a bit more substantial. Degrees I'm going to leave as 2. D is, what is D? D is the actual pin width, 2 millimeters. I'm going to leave it at that. E is the height of that same pin, which I'm going to make 1. I want just a very small one, and then degrees, keep them 2 degrees. And here I can also fill in the spacing. Right, so the fins, once again, you'll need the right view as the orientation. Let's put 2 in there. The rest seems to be okay. I'm not going to bother with it too much. You can go and change this if you want. Like make that 1 mil, just to give this a little bit more of a substantial feel to it. 45, and then that width there should be 0.9, not 1. All right, so that's good enough for now. I think that gives you an idea of how to do it. You'll have to play with it yourself to get it to work exactly as you want it to work. So let's put another sketch in here. Right, exit the sketch, and then we're going to repeat this one here. Sketch-driven pattern. That sketch, give me these faces. And I'm happy. All right, so now we'll put in the reciprocal parts in the top face. So this, once again, it works best if you do a section view with both of them, both of the bodies visible. And this time, let's go back to mounting boss. This time, instead of doing the head, we're going to do the screw, and then the boss. Instead of entering a boss height, we're going to say select mating face, which will be, I'm not actually sure which one to choose here. Let's see what happens. It's that one there, I think. Okay, so it's going to want a body, which is this one here. It's going to want a face to give it direction. Let's go to the top. And then it's going to want a location, which is going to be the same edge on the bottom as on the top. So nothing's showing at the moment. All right, I figured out why this was not showing. It's because if you change the direction, well, in this case, it's not going to show us because of this item here. Let's just change this and see what happens. So if you've got the direction in the opposite direction, it might not show. So just change the direction and see what happens. So the mating face that I had originally chosen was actually the right one. It's that lower one. There we go. So you can see the two are going to interfere with one another. And then it's just a matter, once again, of adjusting this. So it's giving me, it's blanked out A because the height is kind of set by this mating face figure here, 0.1. So the rest is just a matter of adjusting this. So let's make that as well 7.2. Same as the previous one, 2 degrees. D would be 5 point, I think. That might be 5.6 or something. Let's see what happens. Well, we can section this afterwards and just see if everything is as it should be. E would be the hole diameter. Now that needs to be smaller than 3, so let's make it 2.7. There is an actual figure that you need to put in, but I don't know what it is at the moment, but that should do it. And then F is the depth of that little top hat there, that one there. So I've got it 1.5. I think it can come down to about 1.3. G would be the depth of the hole. So that's that hole there, shown by the yellow. So that could probably go a little bit deeper. Even deeper than that. And we don't want it to go too deep or too high because it's obviously then going to punch a hole through the bottom or the top of the mouse body. All right, so let's leave these as they are. I'm not even going to bother. Those can be 2 degrees if you want to make them. And then the fins, once again, you would want to choose the right face. You want to tell it 3 to accord with those 3. Maybe make them a little bit higher. So I think you can see once you've got a handle on what all of these things do, it starts getting easier just to know which one to fill out when. That width there should only be about 5, I think, or maybe 6. 5.5. That's looking right. And I'll say, okay, so it's done it. Let's have a quick look at how we've fared as far as getting them to mate. And it's not looking as good as I thought it would. So we might have to do a little bit of adjusting. There. Okay, so there's a little bit of an interference here between the top hat on the mounting side, on the head side, and between the reciprocal part on the other side. So I'm going to see if I can measure what that difference is between there and there, and that appears to be 0.258. Is that right? One of these is optimal. It's this 0.8. No, it's not that one. Let's just do that again and see if we can't get a point indicator. There we go. 0.232. That's about right. So all I need to do then is to go back into either one of these and adjust them. So let's adjust that one there and just figure out that's that C, I think, is the dimension. So 6, and let's subtract 0.6, because 0.2322 multiplied by 2 is going to give us a bit of clearance. So let's see, there we go, it's made it smaller. And then if you go back, there we go, we've got, this is perfectly lined up. So that's as good as we need to get it. That's brilliant. And then the same thing would happen on this side. I'll run through it and you can kind of skip over if you don't want to know how to do that all over again, because you don't need to know all the details every time. Just go out of here and come back to a more useful view. Put a mounting boss in on this face using the top plane. There we go. And then the edge that we want to locate it against is this one here. And then we can just adjust as we go. So this time it's going to be a pin boss, and it's going to be that one there. And we're going to use a mating face, which is going to be that one there. So there, it's adjusted it. Brilliant. And then the rest is just a matter of filling in figures. So B would be 4. I'm going to leave it as it is. 2 is fine as a degree. 2 millimeters for C. For D, sorry. 2 millimeters. That needs to be a bit smaller. No, I think that's right. Maybe a bit larger. 2.2. Okay, I'm not sure why it's gone red. I think it's gone red because I hit enter. And once again, C is incorrect. There we go. So that's cool. This can be 1. Right, so I've gotten used to what all these figures mean, or which ones to fill in where, so it becomes easier. I will understand if you find it difficult to kind of do it as quickly. That's good. Right, so the gap's a bit large. I can go back in here and just change the gap, but I'm not going to for now. I'm just going to check to see that it does what I want it to do. And that's pretty much, if you can get that right, I'll be happy. Great. So far so good. So I'm going to leave this video for now, and then we'll add the rest in the next video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.